The next few blocks are all made in rows. We're starting off with a double crochet, which in US terms is a single crochet. We need the block to be 10 stitches wide, which means we need 11 chain, one for each of the 10 stitches plus one turning chain. If you don't know how to make the chain, there is a separate video for this in the tips for beginners. The link is in all the blurb underneath the video. I prefer to work into the back bump of the loop. This is entirely up to you, and as long as you go into the same loop each stitch, it doesn't matter which one you use. Put your hook into the second chain from the hook. You've probably worked with trebles first, which is your classic granny square stitch. Trebles use a yarn over, doubles don't. So hook into your stitch, hook under the yarn from the front, over the top, and pull it through. This gives you 2 loops on your hook. Then hook under from the front and take those 2 loops off. I'll show you that again. Hook in, up the back of the yarn, over the top, and pull it through. Push your hook forward so your stitches don't fall off. Then hook under from the front and take those 2 off. And we need to do that all the way to the end of the chain. If you've done your chain correctly, you should end up with 10 stitches. There is your first row. Let me get my little pointy stick out, and you can see. I'll hold that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. The next row is almost the same. 1 chain for your turning chain and turn. It doesn't really matter whether you do your turning chain then turn, or turn then do your turning chain. Officially, you turn at the end of a row and do your turning chain at the beginning of the next. But as long as you do the 2 together, it doesn't matter which order they're done in. Because we're not counting the chain as the first stitch, we need to put the hook into the very first stitch. So you can see where I'm pulling it slightly and there's a hole there, put your hook in. Angle your hook downwards slightly because you need to make sure that you've picked up the 2 bars of the previous row. Hook up the back of the yarn, over and pull it through so you have 2 loops on your hook. Then hook under from the front and take those 2 off. And repeat this all the way along. Make sure that each time you angle your hook down slightly over the back, and make sure that you push your loops right up to the handle if you're using a handled one, and that will help you keep your stitches nice and even. The other thing that I do is, you can see that I hold it there, do my yarn over and pull it through. This helps keep my tension a bit more even and stops the yarn over as you're pulling it through the loops, tightening the loop. If you don't hold it, you can tighten this bit here as you pull the next one through. So I always tend to hold at the bottom of it. All of this does come with practice and it can be a little bit confusing. That's your second row. To make a square, we need a few more rows. I'm going to pause the video there and we'll come back when we have enough. I've made the block 10 stitches wide and 10 rows long, but can you see it isn't square? This is because double crochet stitches are ever so slightly wider than they are tall. If I fold that over there, you can see that is not a square. However, one more row on that will fix that problem. So that's exactly what I'm going to do and just work a final row on it. Now that is square. If I fold that again like that, you can see that all sits rather nicely and is square. The next job is to do a border. This is slightly smaller than the granny squares you've been making. To make our continuous joining work for this side, we need 11 stitches around each side, plus a chain space in the corner. What we're going to do is one chain and we're going to work down the side. As we've got 11 rows, we just need to pick up one stitch in each row down the side. Put your hook through where it feels comfortable. You can see on some rows I'm just going into that big space there, but on that row I'm picking up the 2, and that will give you a nice neat edge with 11 stitches down the side. Wrong place. If you do it too far down, you just end up with a big hole. So try to fit it through the actual stitches rather than into the holes underneath them. For the corner, we need 1, 2 chain. Now across the bottom, we've got 10 stitches. So for the first one, we'll do 2 double crochet into that one, and then 1 into each of the next 9. Again, 2 chain on the corner and 1 into each of the stitches up the side. Another 2 chain in the corner, then across the top, 2 double crochet into the first one and 1 into each of the next 9. Finally, 2 chain for that corner and slip stitch to your very first double crochet. Cut your yarn and fasten it off. And that's your double crochet square with your edging of 11 stitches on each side and 2 chain in each corner.